Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation for today, Sri Rag Mahalla Tija. Amrit chhod Bikhia Lobhane, seva kareh vidani, apna dharm gawaveh, bujeh nahi, anandin dukh vihani, मनमुख अंध न चेत ही डूब मुए बिन पानी मन रे सदा भजो हर सरनाई गुर का शब्द अंतर वसै ता हर विसर न जाई रहाओ एह शरीर माया का पुतला विच हਉ मैं दुष्टि पाई आवन जाना जम्मन मरना मनमुख पत गवाई सतगुर सेव सदा सुख पाया ज्योति ज्योत मिलाई सतगुर की सेवा अत सुखाली जो इच्छे सो फल पाए जत सत तप पवित्र शरीरा हर हर मन वसाए सदा आनंद रहे दिन राति मिल प्रीतम सुख पाए जो सतगुर की शरणागति हाँ तिनकै बल जाऊं दर सच्चे सच्ची वडियाई सहजे सच समाओ नानक नदरी पाई है Gurmukh Mel Milao. Now, in this passage, the Guru is addressing the self-sabotaging ego, which is constantly engaged in self-destructive behavior and is causing us to latch on to self-destructive and addictive habits. Amrit chhod Bikhia Lobhane, seva kare vidani. Literally means that you're exchanging amrit or nectar for bikhya, which is poison. Seva kare, you're latching yourself on vidani, to false doctrines. And self-conceit is the barrier here that prevents us from giving ourselves a sense, a reality check, a sense of recall. We are deprived of course correction by the very nature of ego because it pushes into the background our innate wisdom to do so. Manmukh andna chetai, doob moe bin pani. This is akin to drowning without water. Andna chetai, you're blinded. You do not have any mechanism for recapitulating, reviewing, recalling. That's what Chetana means, to remember. So what is it that we are trying to remember? Well, the very first step is to review your actions, your thought process, before you can even get anywhere. There's a lot of psychological cleansing that has to be done. But what happens when we are acting out of the ego constantly and we block any kind of reality check for ourselves, which is our innate nature? We don't want to be told. We certainly don't want to be admitting to ourselves that we could in any possible way be wrong. What happens then is apna dharm gawave, bujhe nahi, andin dukh vihani. You lose your sense of direction, because you're constantly repeating the same behavior over and again. You lose sight of guiding principles, and, not surprisingly, you suffer as a consequence. And then the Guru is giving us some backdrops, trying to make us understand. A sarir maya ka putla, which haume dushti pai. The body is of the senses. It's a puppet of Maya. In other words, it's controlled by the senses. And you have placed within it the delusional ego. And what that does is make us inherently prone to error. And as we said earlier, it causes us to repeat that erroneous cycle endlessly. We just continue to do that. Avan jana janma marna, manmukh pat gavai. Avan jana, constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again. Pat gavai, there's a loss of honor, which really means that you end up losing the sense of self-esteem. Not self-conceit, which is the ego, but self-esteem, which is your essential self. So what advice does the Guru proffer? Not surprisingly, we are being asked to find permanent sanctuary in the indwelling self. Manare sada paje har saranai. Har saranai. Saranai, of course, means protection, sanctuary. So what this implies is that we need a fundamental shift in perspective. We need to adopt a vantage position from where we can extend our vision beyond our narrow vested interests. So one lesson that we can take away from this practically is ask ourselves, do we have any mechanism for providing ourselves feedback? Do we take the time to reflect? If you don't, please do so. Use Guru as the guide, as the compass. And do spend time assessing what you are doing. That will gradually enable you to build a bridge to that indwelling self. Because remember, that is also being created as you're going through this process. With that thought, until the next segment, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.